Hey, hello, welcome to the show. It is me, JP, and it is time for another product pick of the week. Before I go any further, I want to check in with you about my audio levels and general audio health because I had to switch out some equipment, and that always makes me a little nervous as far as sound stuff goes. So what I'm going to do is check the chat for a moment and see if I can get any feedback about that. I see C. Grover is over in our Discord chat. Speaking of Discord chat, if you're wondering where is the chat, who am I talking to? Well, I'm keeping an eye on our YouTube chat as well as this thing right here. This is our Discord. If you want to join in the chat and you're over on Twitch or somewhere else like that, just head to adafru.it. That's ADAFRU.it. See, it's Adafruit, but with a little dot, a couple letters early. Adafruit.it/Discord. You can then jump into our Discord server and look for the live broadcast chat channel, and that is our that's the place to be. Okay, let's see. We've got a little feedback. Thank you. Hey, Thin Man. I was here last week for this show. Yeah, I missed on Thursday, but I'm feeling much better now. Thank you. Todd said the voice levels are lower than the intro song. Well, sure, yeah. Let's see if we can boost that without breaking anything. So I'm gonna give this a little extra gain and a little. There we are. We're just reaching just below clipping level. I just don't want to get it all howling and nutty, but it's worth. I think it's worth the effort to get this taken care of. So thank you for your patience with me as we get this going. All right, I've goosed that a little bit, and yeah, give me some feedback, and I will move on with things now. So first of all, if you want to go to the place to be for today's product pick, that's the URL right there. Go to that product ID, or head to that QR code if you're into that sort of thing. If you want to point gizmos at symbols, that'll do it. Thank you. Yeah, feedback on the audio is that's even better. Perfect. All right, I will mark those settings later. Try not to touch them. Head to this URL. This video right here, this live stream, is happening right inside the product page, so you can watch it from within there, and you can be poised to purchase if this product is something you're into. There's no coupon code necessary. You just throw it or it and 9 more of its friends, because you can get up to 10 of them during this. You can just throw them in your cart and get them before the end of the show. So it's a special discount we do just during the show, just on this product. You want to usually get it taken care of within a few minutes of the end of the show before the price goes back up. And today's product is half off, and it's a good one. It's a doozy. What a price this is for this. But before I hype it up anymore, let Lady Ada jump in here from the past and tell you all about it. So take it away, Lady Ada.
The ESP32-S3 reverse TFT. So many words and letters there. It's a ESP32-S3 feather, as you can see here. And so let's look at the back first. So the back is the front and the back. Okay. So this is you got your ESP32-S3 mini module, 4 megabytes of flash, 2 megabytes of PS RAM, dual core, 240 megahertz Tensilica processor with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth Low Energy. It does not have Bluetooth Classic, by the way, but it's the latest S3. And then you've got all the little accessories that you would want on that back, and I'll show this on the overhead. It's got USB-C for data and power. It's got a LiPo battery that charges automatically, reset button, a stem QT port for I2C, 2 3.3 volt regulators, one for the I2C port, one for the main board, so you can have like ultra low battery usage and power. Max 17048 battery monitor, so you can check your state of charge. A little NeoPixel for NeoPixeling, and then all the GPIO you need: I2C analog input, SPI, UART, etc. GPIO plenty. And then on the flip side, you get a 240 by 135 pixel IPS display, very tiny display, with, again, the reset button is also on the front because it's useful, and 3 GPIO 0, 1, and 2 connected to buttons that you can press, and you can press them to make it do stuff. So I can actually show on the overhead.
The chopper. Okay.
Oh, I got this thing. So on the overhead, you can see the buttons. I press D1, D0, D2. So we already have an ESP32-S2. This is just the S3 version, so it's actually kind of the same pinout and everything. Reset is handy because you can enter the bootloader. Although I don't think it'll enter the bootloader because it will. So there's a UF2 bootloader already programmed in for drag and drop. Of course, you can erase it. This works with Arduino and CircuitPython because we have support for both of those modules. And the reason I like the reverse mount style is that you can put like a feather on top, but then the TFT isn't blocked, right? So if you want a feather wing, you want to add a GPS or real-time clock or LoRa radio, and then you still have the TFT on the front. Let me just shift this down a little bit. You still have the TFT on the front with some buttons that you can use to have it do different things, display status, sensor output, battery warnings, etc. And yeah, I think it's good for IoT projects. We'll have Whippersnapper support. And again, like I said, CircuitPython and Arduino. All in one. I mean, you can do a lot of projects with no soldering. Just plug in the STEM QT port in the back, and you have buttons in a display.
Yes, indeed, that is it. Look, there it is right there. I'm holding it up, but I'm going to put that down and flip it and reverse it because that right there is the product pick of the week. This week it is the ESP32-S3 reverse TFT feather. This is a feather board, but it's also a display. We've got a display on the bottom side of it, or the back side of it, as well as 3 user buttons and a boot, or rather a reset button. Button 0 can be used as boot. And if you flip it here, it looks like, hey, kind of a normal ESP32-S3 feather. Really great, particularly for projects where you want to integrate this into a panel. You want an incredibly small little, it's basically a display that happens to have a microcontroller dev board bolted to the back of it, which is pretty impressive. Let me jump over to the page here. Here's the page for it. You can see we've got this on this incredible discount right now. It is $12.47. That is a lot of microcontroller for your buck. We've got on here a 1.14-inch diagonal TFT IPS display, which means it's beautiful from all sorts of angles. In fact, let me plug this one in while I'm talking about it. I've got the basic demo on there right now with that one. So you can see that right there. It is a 240 by 135 pixel display. You can add feather wings to the top of it without blocking this screen. This is one of the reasons that Limor came up with this idea, is that you can go ahead and put some either direct solder or use some header pins if you want and plonk on the critical feather wing for your use. Or you can go ahead and plug things into I2C using the STEM QT port there. This has also got battery charging, battery power, so you can use USB, or you can use the LiPo battery there to get your board up and running, and you can charge it right through the USB if you want. We have built-in native USB on this chip. It has 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It also has BLE, no Bluetooth Classic, but BLE is typically what you want. Someone asked in the chat about it. We use BLE for a lot of HID projects, for wireless MIDI types of projects. You can control media players with it. There's a lot of cool BLE projects, but it is not Bluetooth Classic. One of the main differences, I think, is Bluetooth Classic is often used for actual beaming of music and sound wirelessly. So this does not do that, at least not through the Bluetooth Classic. What else has it got? 4 megs of flash, 2 megs of PS RAM. It has this nice SPI display, which is really, really good and fast there. If you take a look at the product page here and scroll down a bit, you can click on a link for the learn guide here, as well as a project guide using this board. It's a pretty new board, so we don't have a lot of projects with it. However, most of the S2, ESP32-S2 projects, particularly reverse TFT feather projects, will work on this board. So here is the main guide. It will give you all of the stats and relevant info and tell you how to get up and running with it for all of your connectors, power management, as well as setting it up with CircuitPython or Arduino. You can also code it wirelessly using PyLeap. I actually have a project here that I initially used the PyLeap program on iOS to upload. This is from a project from Trevor, and I just modified it a little bit. Whoops.
S3.
Hey, whoa. Sorry, wrong button. I just modified this a little bit to have a different graphic on there, but this is an IoT clock. So this is using a time server and Wi-Fi to keep itself in sync. So this should be exactly 112 if I look at any of my other sort of internet clock connected devices, just turned to 113. And this one just shows off the TFT with an adorable little couple of pictures of Lars there. Also, in respect to the original project, which has Blanca Chan from Street Fighter on it, he's got his Blanca Chan t-shirt there, or sleeveless shirt there, because he's Lars and he wants to go sleeveless. I don't blame him. So there you can see we've got, I don't have any functionality on these buttons on this demo here. We can reset right there, so that's your typical reset button. That'll just take a moment for it to go and hop online. We'll see. Yeah, it did it. It found the internet. So I have a wireless router here that is jumping on and grabbing that info from. Otherwise, it looks like your typical feather with all of the many GPIO pins available for lots and lots of things. You can see there's a little antenna built into the edge there. Here is another demo I wanted to show you. In fact, someone said in the chat, I think it was C. Grover, said, hey, you can also mount these vertically for Eurorack. This is a project I did. This is actually the previous version, or the S3. It's not really the previous version, but it's a different version. I had mounted this into a little Eurorack compatible panel. You could do the exact same thing with our S3 there. It's the same board size, feather standard, holes for the dimensions for the holes there. But there it is, mounted vertically. So you can see you got a little access to your buttons and the screen there. I'll throw this under the down shooter so you can take a look at that. Let's see, I'll go ahead and focus that. Here you can see I have it kind of doing little random stuff there, and when I press these buttons, I'm changing the colors of the different elements there. So there's a S2 version, but this will work with the S3 the same way. So you can see on this demo here, you can press the buttons to get a little feedback on those. If you plug in I2C devices, you will see their address show up on there, as well as if you have a battery plugged in. Let me grab a battery. I'll steal it from this other project here. Plug that battery in there, and now we're getting, we should be getting our, hey, it's 101% charged. That is a very well charged battery. You can see it's giving me 4 volts right now. That should start to drop as we leave that on there. And if you want to take a look at the code that's running on this one, so this is this project here I mentioned, the reverse TFT digital clock display featuring Blanca Chan. Blanca Chan? That's hard to say for me. If we switch over to code view here, this is the modified version of it. So I just had to basically point it at some different graphic files, and I adjusted the text layout just a little bit to fit this nicely. And here's my code view. So this is CircuitPython here. And as far as some of the online stuff you can see, we're grabbing SSL, Wi-Fi, socket pool, Adafruit requests. This is allowing us to go and ask a time server for the time. And then some Wi-Fi radio setup going on here. We have the world clock API that we're grabbing time from. And look at the display setup. This is so easy on this because it's integrated into the board. We know in the board definition exactly what display there's here. So I say display equals board.display. Don't have to tell it much else other than that. I'm going to go ahead and use display IO for throwing up that on-disk bitmap there. Create a tile grid from it, and then I'm using a text labels on top of that. And this just is updating it, changing the image out every 5 seconds, and checking the time to make sure that we are current. So that's a really nice, easy clock project you can do. Let's see, do we have any questions over in the chat? Let's see. Cables, yes, QT cables have been out of stock, huh? Hopefully we'll catch up on those. I've noticed the same. I get them when I see them available. I grab a couple. Let's see. Someone asked in the chat, I can bring back the Discord here. Someone asked about the CAN bus, or the CAN device pins brought out. Rufus would like to hook this up to a CAN network. And Todd posted that the schematics are posted in the Learn Guide. There's a download page. If you check out pretty much any Learn Guide towards the end of the guide, there's the guide. There'll be a downloads link. And if you click that, you will find the chip data sheet as well as fabrication and schematic diagrams. Todd said, looking at that diagram, the S3 pins are all brought out, so that should be able to give you CAN. You might want to ask in the chat in project help as well to see if anyone knows for sure. Let's see, I think that is it, however. So head to that URL right there. That'll take you to the product page. Good grief, what is that guy doing there? You can get them right now for $12.47. We have them in stock. I know we stashed at least 100 of them before the show, so you should be able to get them now before the time runs out. And that is gonna do it. So there we go. How about that one? That right there is my product pick of the week this week. It is the ESP32-S3 reverse TFT feather. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been JP's product pick of the week. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.